Hello and welcome to PSGL. My name is Pinky Boy and we are here for the finale of the Constructors Challenge here at the circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. Circuit is 4.65 kilometers long, has 14 turns, 7 each way. We are doing the no chicane variant. Housekeeping after the last one, Ori won the championship. Yes, some housekeeping. Ori was indeed the champion after the last round. We have no OP Fred this race. They're the only one who is currently signed out of the race. If anyone else is in the race, they will be letting us know soon. So yeah, so a bit about the track. We'll jump on with someone who is coming down the start-finish straight just now. Let's see who. There we go. Jump on with Ragnar Kagari as they come down the start-finish straight, and they break into the Elf chicane. And then through the long right-hander, that is Repsol corner. You got a short straight here. And then in for another right-hander, that is... Well, this one is Repsol corner, sorry, the last one was Renault. The long right. Then here into the braking point, which is Sayat corner. Back on the power as we come into TV3 and then run up the hill towards Campsa. Then along straight, this is where penalties will be taken if any driver does indeed take a penalty, as we brake then into La Cagsa. And then this long right here is Banca de Sabadell, or Bank Sabadell. And then into Europe car corner, completely missing the chicane, and then into Catalonia and back onto the long straights. So yes, as always, we do have 5 minutes of quali with a 1 minute continuation from the end of the timer to the finish of quali to let anyone on laps finish the laps. 35 lap race, 9 laps required on the hard and medium compounds. No rain expected. And we're expecting to see 12 racers on the track tonight. However, that is subject to whether or not they can make it. We have, after this round, we have a couple of weeks off. Then we will be back with the Porsche Fest, where we are in the Group 3 911 RSR. Any drivers who have taken the Porsche for this season, the likes of OP Pepitox and Pipox, will have a slight advantage heading into that one. That will be 4 rounds. Sign-ups for that will be the 9th of November, and round 1 will be the 28th, so that will take us through November and December. Then we have Super Formulas in the SF23s in January. We have Constructors Challenge 3 February and March. We have a VGT, the Vision Gran Turismo. We have a one-make series for that. We do not know which VGT car it is yet. That will be announced in due time. That will be April and May. And then we have Constructors Challenge 4 in June and August. So yes, we are about 25 minutes out from qualifying. The fastest time at the moment is held by OP Pipox with a 1:41.1. We are looking at having clear skies for the race, no rain expected like I said, and as there is no rain there is obviously the compound requirements that is done away with if rain is present. So in practice just now we have Pipox and Pepitox, we have Javi and Juttengo, we have Ori, Ragnar Kagari, Lee the Reaper, H Racing Green and Solid Ninja Snake. We should also have Hasnain with us tonight, as well as Gino, CRG Jamie, Gino and CRG Jamie are the only two who I've not mentioned. So yes, Ragnar Kagari on the grid, looking to do a practice start. Not getting off the line particularly well there. Going for another attempt. Quite far back along the grid. I figured he would maybe be a wee bit more confident in his ability. As we see H Racing Green and McLaren currently second place in the championship. Can still be overtaken by OP Somi if they are here tonight. I believe that's who they were in the championship fight with. Let's just bring up the standings. No, it's Pippo is 5 points behind them currently, so they are still battling for second. 15 points back is OP Somi. So if they're here tonight, they can also be in that battle. But the main battle is the battle for second, with H Racing Green on 65 points and Pippo on 60, 5 points the difference. Ori Ambassador has, like I said, did win the championship last week. He is on 90 points, at 25 points ahead of H Racing Green, with the maximum amount of points being able to take for the drivers able to take away being 17. That has secured the championship for Ori. Further down the standings, we have OP OP Fred on 39, who is not here tonight. CRG Jamie has 29 points. Javi has 25. Peptox has 24. Hasnain has also 24. Gino 24. Solid Ninja Snake has 12. Ragnar Gary on 11 points. R4M Tyler on 9. Juttengo on 9. Lee the Reaper on 3. AMS Melvin on 2. Fred Dude and VQS Catfish both to get off the mark. Although I don't think Fred Dude or Catfish are here, or Melvin either. And that leaves the Constructors Challenge, the Constructors standings in this Constructors Challenge, being the McLarens combined have 159 points, followed by the Toyotas with 89 points. The Porsches have 78, the Aston Martins have 36, the Subarus on 29, the Lexus on 24, the Peugeot on 11, Jaguar 9, Ferrari 9, and Mercedes 3. The drivers are thinking a 38.9, 38.7 is roughly around the mark for quali, from which we are about 8 minutes away from getting everyone blasting around the track as we see Ori Ambassador, the champion, coming through La Caixa and into Sabadell. Drivers much preferring this version of the track without the chicane. Can carry much more speed through the corners. It gives you a better chance to make a run on this pit straight before diving in for the chicane. As we now come through Renault and make the dive down to Repsol, where someone is chilling out in the gravel trap, playing in the sand. That would be Ragnar Kagari, judging by the green tinge. Let's see, is it? Oh no, it is Juttengo. See Lee the Reaper there in the Mercedes and the F1 liveried Mercedes GT3. Have a bit of a crosswind coming into turn 1 and turn 2 through the chicane. At the moment, that will give drivers something to think about as they are coming through there, if they are battling side by side. It does mean they have a bit of a tailwind on the run up to Capsa. Which means they will need to think about the braking and downshift, making the run through, and it is a crosswind on the run down to the Kaiser. We are using the sharper version of it than the F1 tracks do. No, the F1 guys do. They use the extended out version. We use the older version of that corner. But it won't be long now till we see everyone strap on the softs and go full beans, trying to get pole position as Pepbox decides that they would like to inspect that tyre barrier. Out on track just now we have Peptox, we have H Racing Green, we have CRG Jamie, as well as Lee the Reaper, Hasnain, Ori and Solid Ninja Snake. That is Javi coming out of the pits now as well. You might see a couple of different liveries from some of the drivers this round, as we do allow one-offs, and most drivers generally end up taking them at the end of the season. Let's see if we do have any one-offs on the go. Doesn't actually appear like we do. Yes, we are about 2 minutes out from qualifying. Once we get that underway, that's where the fun begins, as they say. We'll see the battle for second between H Racing Green and OP Pepbox. Looks like everyone's starting to come out on track, except Django, who will be in the menus setting everything up for us to go racing. It seems we are just waiting for Gino. A bit of drifting there from Jamie. Sounds like a few people aren't getting caught up in the on the exit of TV3 on the way up to Capsa. There's a sausage curb there that will unbalance the car. You want to take as much of it as you can without unsettling the car. Because that will yield you more lap time. But obviously, as we've seen, if you take too much of it, it will bleed lap time. Solid Ninja Snake currently has the fastest lap with a 1:40.7. No one really getting down to the 38s that H Racing Green was saying, but then again, in this practice session, the cars are fully laden with fuel. They will only start achieving those lap times as the fuel comes down, although there's Solid putting in a purple sector 1 there. Let's see if he can improve on this time. As he comes down into Seat corner. Quality race settings in about 3 minutes. He runs a wee bit wide there on the exit of Seat. And into TV3. Nicely on that curb. Ori has a penalty ahead, will be slowing down. But it wasn't a particularly big penalty. He's down on his best time by 2/10 coming into the Kaisa. And getting a wee bit of a shake on the exit of Sabadell as we come through Europe Car and Catalonia. And on to the start finish straight. Picking up toll from Ori. 4/10 down. But has a 9/10 of a second advantage over Ori in this practice session at least. Let's see if that will translate over into qualifying. That was also on the softs. Most people are running the hards and mediums just now, as they are the race tyres. So once Gino gets here, they will. If Gino gets here, they will allow him a few minutes to get used to the track and the conditions, and then we will be underway. As Ori Ambassador sets a purple sector, sector 2. Coming through Bank Sabadell. Short run to Eurocar. And down through Catalonia. On the power nice and early. Crosses the line. Closes the gap a bit. It's a personal best. CRG Jamie taking what's known as the Roman Grosjean line. Spinning up the wheels. But I think we'll be going in just a moment. Resetting now. And once we reset, everyone will get 1 or 2 minutes of practice. Get used to everything with the fuel loads. As we do, and we will be underway for quali very, very shortly. So everyone out, getting used to well, almost everyone out. Just getting used to the conditions before we start. Everyone will get 1 or 2 laps. Because these cars do perform differently with fresh tyres and low fuel than they do with fresh tyres and a full tank. As we see the GTS 92 car of Javi. It's coming through Seat corner there. Oh, and he's giving it a wee spin. We'll pick up with Ori as he comes through Kamsa. Makes the run down to La Casa. and up the hill to Sabadell and into Europe car, back down the hill towards Catalonia. And this will give us a rough idea for quali, but it will not be an exhaustive list by any means. At the moment, Ori is the fastest on the track with a 1 at 39.2. Then we've got Pepitox, Jamie, H Racing Green, Solid Ninja Snake, Javi, Jutton Gold and Javi. Lee the Reaper coming all across the line now. As well as we've got Peppo and Ragnar Kagari, who's just parked out at the exit of Seat corner there. In the runoff, just down the way a wee bit. You shall wish them luck. Solid playing a bit of car football with the polystyrene boards there. Popular sport over in Spain. But that is us. We are now time for quality. Everyone on the softs. This is all about maximising lap time. As we see a bunch of cars all piling out at once. They'll all be staying fairly close together until the final sector, where they'll all find their space. Jamie just looking to find his space early. Solid. Pippo is at the head of the train. We'll be looking to give Pepitox a tow where he can. Also be fast enough that he does not give any slipstream, any dirty air to his teammate even. Let's see how we go as we come around the final corner, and that's the start of quali. Everyone has a wee bit of a gap. Javi quite close to the back of Ori there. You can see on the minimap as Peppo comes into the Alpha chicane. Takes that very nicely. You don't want to scrub off too much speed here, but you do want to start running out wide about halfway through the corner as we come through Renault, and as far left as you can for the right-hander of Repsol. Again, kiss the apex, drift back out wide, cross over the track for the left-hander of say it here. Use all that curb. That's a bit of a nothing corner. Just don't even think about it as we go through TV3. You want to be careful with the sausage curb on the exit there, and the sausage curb through Campsa. Be careful how far out you run on that curb. If you go over the red and white bit fully onto the green, you will get a penalty. You gotta be really careful with the sausage curb here. That can absolutely unsettle the car and send you to the infield grass. As we come through Sabadell up the hill, use as much of that runoff as you can without going into the gravel as we come through Europe car. Again, using all the curb. You want to ride that sausage curb. You don't want to be going over it. That's 139. 139.2. Well, 139.2 is 139.1, a 144 from Javi. Ori Ambassador currently holds the pole position with a 1/10 gap back to Pipox. Then we have Pipox, then H Racing Green, 139.6. CRG Jamie as a 139.6 also. Then we've got Lee the Reaper, Javi, Solid, Ninja Snake. We've got Juttengo coming through there. He is currently in 9th with a 141.4. Hasnain just coming across the line and now 141.1 flat. Puts him ahead of Juttengo. Ragnar Kagari now. A 140.44 puts him ahead of Solid Ninja Snake, and Hasnain puts him up into 8th position. As we see cars now coming through Campsa. Javi a wee bit wide there. Onto the gravel beyond the sausage curb. That is definitely going to slow him down. He is giving it all the beans through Campsa there. CRG Jamie in the background there with a 5/10 of a second penalty. Once you get on that sausage curb, you do not want to cross back over it. Just ride it along to the end. Final lap. As OP Pipox goes faster with a 139.0 and takes pole position. H Racing Green with a 139.4 puts himself up into 4th. Juttengo 140.2. Ragnar Kagari up on his time so far. Solid Ninja Snake 140.4 puts himself ahead of Ragnar Kagari by 9 milliseconds. Or 9 thousandths of a second. Hasnain 139.999. Ragnar Kagari 140.1. Here we go. That is your grid order for this race. Pipox, followed by Ore, then Pepitox, then H Racing Green alongside them. CRG Jamie down in 5th place alongside Hasnain. Then Ragnar Kagari and Juttengo share a row with Lee the Reaper and Javi. And yep, Lee the Reaper and Javi. And then on the final row on their Todd, plenty of space to work with, hopefully, for them is Solid Ninja Snake. 1.4 seconds separates the entire grid. Drivers will now have a wee minute to choose their starting tyres. I imagine the 2-stop is probably going to be the way to go here. Medium, medium, hard. However, the soft tyres are an option, but you are required to use both the hards and the mediums. I don't know what Hasnane's apologising for, but I do know that if Hasnane can do the Hasnane things that I know he can. That 6th place can he can definitely make his way up from there. We are on our way to the grid now. Lights out, and we are off for 35 laps of Barcelona, Catalonia. As we are on board, as we're following Solid Ninja Snake there, we'll get ourselves in the middle of the pack there. Ragnar Kagari already up to 4th position, H Racing Green in 3rd. Peppox looking to go around the outside, but H Racing Green is looking to go down the inside of Peppox. Ragnar Kagari getting in amongst it. Has CRG Jamie right behind him. Pep Talks up into 3rd. Pep Talks was looking like he was getting a bit squeezed out there by H Racing Green, and H Racing Green gets past, and they're going to be battling for position all the way through Repsol here and down into Seat. Pep Talks is behind. Someone's off on the grass there. That looked like Lee the Reaper. As we now come to TV3, Peptox sitting under the rear ring of H Racing Green. As H Racing Green is right behind Peppox. As we see one of the Asahi Kasai cars making a move on Lee the Reaper, and it was Hasnane down in 9th, falling back the way from starting in 6th. As we now see Jutton go right behind Ragnar Kagari. As we come through Europe car and down to Catalonia. Jutton go back in his regular livery after having the Halloween one on last week. Will we see anyone make a dive into the Elf chicane? No, everyone's staying well behaved. CRG Jamie there up in 5th. As we see Pep Talks right behind H Racing Green, who is right behind Peppo. Or Ambassador in the lead. H Racing Green will be wanting to make his way past Peppo as soon as he can and hold him back there, because they are fighting for 2nd in the championship just now. Only 5 points separates these two drivers, as Pep Talks looks like he is pretty much pushing H Racing Green through Campsa. Are we going to see a move into the Kaisa? Yes. Pep Talks going side by side. Squeezes H Racing Green out a wee bit, loses the back end a little bit, but does manage to keep the position there. Pep Talks helping out his teammate massively there by putting a buffer between H Racing Green and Peppo. And in that time, Peppo has managed to make a wee bit of a gap and has the fastest lap. Ori had the fastest lap for a second, but then Peppo took it off them. There's a 1:42.6 as everyone is coming down into the Elf chicane. Let's see what's happening for the back. Someone has spun. Who is it? It's Solid Ninja Snake. And Javi has also Gone into the gravel. I wonder what's happened there. As we see, Ori Ambassador in the lead with a 1 second lead over Pippo. Ahead of Pep Talks and ahead of CRG Jamie, who has overtaken H Racing Green. Javi has DSC'd. The Shears won't look too kindly on that, if that is a rage quit. Here we see CRG Jamie ahead of H Racing Green by about 0.8 of a second and 1.4 seconds behind Pep Talks. This is exactly not what H Racing Green wants to be seeing right now. 2 cars in between him and his rival for second in this championship, as Ori Ambassador takes the fastest lap once again, 1:42.4. As we see Ryan Nakagari and Jutton go behind Hasnain. Lee the Reaper and Solid Ninja Snake has managed to catch up back up to the back of the train. Just come back up to the front. Everything's looking rather sedate at the moment. Everyone's just focusing on the strategies, tyre management, fuel management, making sure they can execute the strategy that they think will be the fastest for them. Obviously, if you can save the fuel, you spend less time in the pits fueling up. And if you can make the tyres last longer, you can go. You can maybe even stretch out to a 1-stop. But that would involve being able to keep the pace. As we see CRG Jamie breaking down into La Caixa. See Pep Talks coming through. Europe car has a 1.7 second gap to CRG Jamie. He has about a 1 second gap to H Racing Green, with Ragnar Kagari about a second behind. And Jutton go roughly about the same gap behind. Pippo now takes the fastest lap over 1:42.423. And we see Ragnar Kagari following H Racing Green, with Jutton go behind. Not a lot of fuel spread here. Everyone's fairly close together, although it does look like, on the minimap, it looked like Pepox was closing in on Ori, and indeed is. It was looking like it was closer than it actually is on the map. And we see that gap from Pippo to Ori come down to 5/6 of a second. Pippo looking to get a good run out here, get in the slipstream. Wee bit of a slide there. Mistake by Ori has opened the door for Pippo, but Pippo doesn't seem to make anything of it right now, but very close through these sweepers. Means he can stay in the slipstream and make the move into or before Elf Chicane. Let's see if he goes for it. He's pulling out to make the move, but thinks better of it, tucks back in. See further down, Peptox now has about a 2-second gap to CRG Jamie, who has a 2-second gap to H Racing Green, who does have a half-second penalty there. Ori growing that gap back out to about 0.6 of a second. Yeah, H Racing Green is going to be vulnerable to Ragnar Kagari and Jutton Go coming down Campsa. Let's see how far down he goes. Serving this penalty. Oh, he manages to keep the gap. Oh, keep the position even. Having served a penalty and is now free to go. But that does mean he has dropped to 3 seconds behind CRG Jamie. Which means he's about 6.7 seconds behind Pipox. You know, seems to have a couple of groups. Here we've got a wee train here with H Racing Green ahead of Ragnar Kagari, Jutton Go and Hasnain, as H Racing Green sets up purple sector 1. Looking to reel in CRG Jamie, and hopefully get past soon. And then we'll be looking to close the gap on Pepitox, who will no doubt be doing everything in his power to keep H Racing Green behind, to help out Pippo as much as possible, get second in the championship. As we see this train coming down the back straight there, as Jutton Go is pushing Ragnar Kagari through that corner, and H Racing Green has opened a gap of over a second to Ragnar Kagari behind. Fastest lap still held by Pippo. Ori Ambassador now takes the fastest lap at 1:42.0. H Racing Green 0.5 of a second off that pace. But in doing so, Ori has also opened the gap to Pippo behind, up to 2.2 seconds. The gap between Pippo and Pepitox has closed up a wee bit. It's no longer over a second, it's now just 0.7 of a second. CRG Jamie 2.3 seconds back, and H Racing Green at 2.5 seconds back. Then you've got a 2.5 second gap until you see the train of Ragnar Kagari, Jutton Go and Hasnain. And then in the back there you can see Lee the Reaper and Solid Ninja Snake. This is going to be a fascinating race as we get through to the likes of the pit stops, see where everyone is going to try and filter out, see what strategies they're going for. See who started on the hards and started on the mediums, or if anyone took a gamble on the softs to start. Ori Ambassador still holds the fastest lap, 1:42.083, and just maintaining that 2 second gap back to Pippo. H Racing Green opening the gap behind to Ryan Nakagari, now up to 3 seconds, and chipping away at that gap to Jamie ahead, now under 2 seconds. Will be thinking about the championship battle a little bit in the back of his mind. Remember, the gap is only 5 points in the standings, so as it currently stands, I believe Pippo will be P2 in the championship. As we come through Lacaixa and into Sabdell. H Racing Green just chipping away at that gap. Now down to 1.8 seconds. The two OP cars have pitted. They went on the hards. They have completed their mandated laps on the hard tyres. Although it does seem a bit early to stop if you are on the hards. So either they've pushed very hard and taken too much out of the tyres, or they have a different strategy in mind. But that does drop both of them to the back of the grid. Let's see if anyone else pits. In reaction to that, or people are just going to stick to their strategies, as CRG Jamie and the H Racing Green. Gap is closing, battle is imminent. 1.5 seconds. And H Racing Green has made that gap back to Brian Nakagari up to about 4 seconds now. Hasnain has overtaken Jut and Go. Hasnain now looking to take Ryan Nakagari on. As we come up the hill towards Campsa. And into Lacaixa. Hasnain having more speed than Ryan Nakagari into the corner there. Jut and Go dropping back just a little bit, now down to 1 second. The gap now half a second between Hasnain and Ryan Nakagari. Ryan Nakagari Hasnain perfectly in the slipstream of Ryan Nakagari for this run through Catalonia and onto the start finish straight right down to the Elf chicane. No one else has came in reaction to the OP cars pitting early. Let's see, Hasnain going to pull out, go for the move? He is not, he is going to stay behind. As we come through Renault. Hasnain much quicker going down the inside at Repsol. No, Ryan Nakagari covers that off. As we come down into Sayat corner. Hasnain not looking at the move yet. Might look for a move through out on the exit of Campsa. On the run down to Lacaixa. In the slipstream of Ragnar Kagari. As you see, CRG Jamie and H Racing Green going down. Ragnar Kagari a wee bit to the inside, just a wee bit defensive there. As we come through Sabadell. As Ori Ambassador comes in on from the hard tyres, as does H Racing Green. And Solid Ninja Snake is also in. Who else? No one else has come in. Let's see. Pep Talks ahead of Pippo now, as Pippo sets the fastest lap of the race, and they both come out ahead of Ori, which means they've come out ahead of H Racing Green as well. The fastest lap currently 1:41.2, set by Pippo on presumably the medium tyres, as Ori, HRG and Solid have all came out on the medium tyres. So now it's the question, will Pippo be let wave through by Pepitox? Or are they going to hold station, or is it a let them race situation? Either way, the gap is about half a second and closing as we come down this straight. Well, in fact, no, it's opening as we come down this straight, as Pipox sets a purple sector 2. Ori behind by about 2 seconds, but Ori closing that gap. Pepitox being followed by Pippo through these sweepers. Pippo nicely in the slipstream to cut down the time on this lap, setting another fastest lap 1:41.237. That definitely looks like a Pippo is faster than you situation. Pepitox didn't exactly fight that in any way, shape or form. As Pipox sets the fast lap, and Ori has left the room. I wonder if that was a disconnect. As we see Ragnar Kagari and Hasnain still close together, still battling. Gap about 0.3 of a second. Hasnain pretty much pushing Ragnar Kagari through Sabadell there, and will be tucked right under his rear wing for Europcar and Catalunya. Oh no, both pitting. Both drivers started on the hard. CRG Jamie yet to pit. Juttengo now pits. Lee the Reaper still to pit also. Lee stays out. Pippo and Petbox. There we go. See a wee bit of a battle there, as Pippo goes all the way to the pit wall to break the toe, but Pepitox stays in the slipstream. Ragnar Kagari about 13 seconds behind. Sorry, H Racing Green about 13 seconds behind. As he will be trying to make up the ground. And behind we see Solid Ninja Snake is now ahead of Ragnar Kagari, Hasnain and Juttengo. The only two left to pit are CRG Jamie and Lee the Reaper in first and second. Lee the Reaper coming through camps just now. We'll be seeing blue flags soon with Pippo and... In fact, no, we won't be seeing blue flags because they'll be racing for position. Never mind that. Let's see CRG Jamie staying out. see coming through Sabadell now. And down into Europe car. And then Catalonia. Lee also staying out. Lee and Jamie on the hard tyres. Jamie does seem to have a pit stop gap now, as Pipox has a 1 second penalty, presumably for track limits. That will give Lee a wee bit of breathing space. And that will likely give H Racing Green some encouragement, as he'll see that gap come down by about 1.3 seconds on the exit of Capsa. As he sets purple sector 1. Coming through Seat corner now. And in through TV3 as the OP cars come through Capsa. Pippo will have served his penalty by now. Yes, and they're even closer to Lee than they were when we last seen them, as Pippo is now behind Pep Talks. As we come through Europe car, CRG Jamie does indeed come in. Lee the Reaper coming in also. We see where CRG Jamie filters out. In relation to H Racing Green, these two were about 3 seconds or so apart. CRG Jamie comes out behind H Racing Green on the medium tyres, and Lee the Reaper will come out on also medium tyres. We're on lap 16 of 35. Your podium currently, as it currently stands, Peptox, Peppo and H Racing Green. H Racing Green 11 seconds behind Peppo, who's just set a fastest sector 1, although Pippo has the fastest lap overall for 1:41.2. The gap is 11.5 seconds. H Racing Green and Pippo are fighting for second in this championship. The championship was won last round by Ore Ambassador, who was leading this race up until the pit stops, where he fell foul to the undercut from the OP cars. And has subsequently retired from the race for whatever reason it is. But H Racing Green starting to close that gap down. That was 12 seconds at the last lap. It is now 11.5. He is opening the gap behind to CRG Jamie. We have Ryan Nakagari looking to chase down Solid Ninja Snake, and Solid's teammate Hasnain is behind them. Then we have Django and Lee the Reaper down in 9th position. Everyone will indeed be getting points in this race. Pep Talks opening the gap to Pippo, 1.5 seconds. It's been under a second for the majority of the race when they've been fairly close together. So we'll see if Pippo put a car between himself and H Racing Green, try and secure himself second in the championship, as he's run a bit wide there. Running that wide, you run risk of getting a penalty for track limits. As we make our way through the Kaisa and up to Sabadell, the gap is staying about 1.6, although H Racing Green is bringing that gap to Pippo down. It's now to 10.8 seconds with 18 laps to go. Can H Racing Green bring that down further? There should still be a round of pit stops for everyone, because I don't think the medium tyres are going to go to the end of this race. Everyone will likely stop for another set of mediums. You might get some who might try the soft tyres. As we see behind H Racing Green, there's a 7-second gap to CRG Jamie. A 3.2 second gap further back to Solid Ninja Snake, who has Ragnar Kagari 1.1 second behind him. Solid Ninja Snake's teammate is behind Ragnar Kagari, but by about 3.2 seconds, and that would be Hasnain. And then following them, we have Jutngo and Lee the Reaper. Pepitox holding the gap of about 1.4 seconds as we come to Kampsa on the run down the back straight. Bit of a tailwind on this straight will definitely help the chasing drivers out. As we see H Racing Green bringing that gap to Pippo down. It's now to 10.3 seconds. Only a couple of corners behind them. Pippo coming through Sabadell as H Racing Green exits La Caixa as we come through Europe Car and Catalonia. H Racing Green still bringing that gap down to 10.1 seconds. Gap opening and closing a wee bit as we go through the corners. Obviously different cars can have different strengths. Some will be better in the straights, some will be better through high speed, some will be better through low speed corners. But overall, lap after lap, that gap is coming down. It's now below 10 seconds, 9.8. As H Racing Green continues opening the gap to CRG Jamie behind. CRG Jamie now 6.6 seconds behind H Racing Green as we see a possible battle on the cards. We see Ragnar Kagari looking for a pass on Solid Ninja Snake as we come down through Seat corner. Ragnar Kagari staying behind. Oh, gets a wee bit squirrely there, almost into the gravel. That's going to give Solid Ninja Snake just a little bit of breathing room, as that Peugeot is sliding about a lot as we come through TV3 on our way up to Kampsa. Ragnar Kagari looking to get some excellent traction out of here in the slipstream. Might make a dive down the inside at La Caixa. No, he does not. Thinks better of it, but still closing the gap. We'll be pushing him through Sabadell at this rate. Looking to stay in the slipstream through Europe Car and Catalonia, the two right-handed sweepers here. Looking to carry massive speed through here. Stay in the slipstream. Is Solid Ninja Snake going to make him work for it? He pulls out, pulls alongside. Solid Ninja Snake doesn't defend that too hard by the looks of it. Ragnar Kagari gets the move done before the Elf chicane. Pepitox still ahead of Pippo. H Racing Green will still be closing the gap. CRG Jamie is slowly being closed in on by Ragnar Kagari and Solid Ninja Snake. Gap is about 5.3 seconds. as we come down into the corner. It will soon be the point where Radnicka, Solid and Hasnain can all see Jamie on the road ahead, and we'll be looking to make the pass. H Racing Green has opened that gap up 7.2 seconds, and he is closing the gap to Pippo 9.1. You kind of get the feeling that there'll be some team radio going on between Pep Talks and Pippo. Thinking about strategies and team orders possibly. As we look here, Hasnain closer to Solid Ninja Snake than Solid is to Radnicka. Hasnain might look for a pass on his teammate here. Looks like a wee bit of team orders there. Solid going to let Hasnain past. Hasnain going to chase after Radnicka, who is 2.1 seconds up the road. Probably drag his teammate along with him. The Sahe Kasai cars making that orchestrated pass look easy. As Pepitox is opening a gap to Pippo. Gap 2.2 seconds. As H Racing Green is closed in on Pippo by further 3 seconds. The gap is now 7.6. And these drivers pitted on lap 9 from the hards to the mediums as they both pit now. This will be their final pit stop to the end of the race. I imagine they'll go again on mediums and go to the end. What will H Racing Green do? H Racing Green has a half-second penalty, but it's continuing on. H Racing Green making look as much use of the clean air as he can. He was closing the gap before the pit stops, so we'll be looking to use that pace to get a bit of an overcut on Pippo. As we have 13 laps remaining, we are on lap 22 of 35 here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. CRG Jamie about 6.4 seconds behind. So let's see where the OP cars are now. They are coming through Renault just now, and they have traffic in the way of Lee the Reaper. Of course, Lee the Reaper probably not going to make it easy for them. This is a battle for position, even if they're not in the same race. There's no blue flags here to force Lee to let them past. See Jungle on the exit of the Kaisa. Not far behind. Solid Ninja Snake. Hasnain has made that gap behind to Solid Ninja Snake, now 3.2 seconds, but has closed the gap to less than a second behind Radnicka as they come along this back straight, or the pit straight. Hasnain is in the slipstream looking for all the tow he can get. Will stay behind too far back to make a move on Radnicka. As we come through Renault, that gap slowly coming down. Let's see what the gap back to 35.7 seconds. Pep Talks is from H Racing Green. Pit stop here is about 30 seconds or so, I think. About 30-40 seconds. So should H Racing Green pit soon, it is likely you will be in the mix. We'll just have to wait and see what he does. He doesn't pit this lap though, I'll tell you that much, as Solid Ninja Snake has Jut and Go behind. Ryan Nakagari even closer to Nakagari has Hasnain even closer behind than before. Ryan Nakagari pulling off the racing line. Got a wee bit on the gravel there. Solid Ninja Snake pits now. Hasnain and Ryan Nakagari alongside each other. Hasnain trying to make the move on the outside, which will turn to the inside for the second part of this chicane. Ryan Nakagari keeps the position. Ryan Nakagari now up into third. However, Rana and Hasnain are out of sync and will indeed need to pit again, as will H Racing Green, CRG, Jamie, Jut and Go, Lee the Reaper. As we see, Peppo is 36.9 seconds behind H Racing Green. Still behind Lee the Reaper. However, Pep Talks has indeed got ahead. Ryan Nakagari still ahead of Hasnain, 1.1 second the gap. CRG Jamie is 9 seconds ahead of this battle, and that gap is indeed growing. Ryan Nakagari and Hasnain indeed slowing each other down compared to Jamie's pace in clean air, as H Racing Green has come into the pits. Ryan Nakagari is also coming in, as is Hasnain. Jut and Go makes his pit stop, as we see Pep Talks and Pippo coming through Europe car just now, and then through Catalonia. Pippo getting on the sausage curb there. Let's see what the gap to H Racing Green is when he comes out of the pits. We have 10 laps to go. H Racing Green fueling up as Pep Talks and Pippo come through Elf Chicane. H Racing Green comes out alongside Lee the Reaper, who is out of sync as he's not made his pit stop yet. But the gap is about 9 seconds. H Racing Green will get past Lee the Reaper easily here. The tyre delta just makes it so. Although Lee the Reaper is coming back at him a little bit. Yeah, the gap is about 9.9 seconds. H Racing Green will need to close the gap by 1 second per lap to catch Pippo, provided there are no mistakes by either driver. But CRG Jamie is in this lap, and I imagine Lee the Reaper will also follow, being the only one left to pit. The gap between Pep Talks and Pippo is now down to under 2 seconds. The gap earlier was about 2.4 seconds. see Lee the Reaper there. Will he box this lap? Yes, he will. He boxes this lap. As we see Hasnain and Ragnar Kagari, gap is about 1.7 seconds. Hasnain ahead of Ragnar Kagari. Then behind we see Solid Ninja Snake about 4.5 seconds behind, with Jungo 2.4 seconds behind them. Question is, what is the gap going to be to Lee when Lee comes out of the pits? New tyres going on Lee's car just now. That means fuel will be going in. The gap here is 10.1 seconds. It doesn't feel like Kate Racing Green's closing the gap quick enough to catch Pipox. As Lee came out also on medium tyres. Now have a we still have a tailwind on. Oh no, we now have a tailwind on the run into camps instead of the run out of Campsa. Pep Talks currently holds the fastest lap, 1:41.1, and is creating a gap from Pipox behind. Gap is currently 2.4 seconds. H Racing Green got the gap to Pippo back down below 10 seconds, but CRG Jamie is now 3.2 seconds behind. We are on lap 27 of 35. There is 7 laps to go after this one, as H Racing Green sets a purple sector 1. We're going to be focusing on the time gap between Pipox and H Racing Green as they are battling for second in this championship. Ori Ambassador won the championship last week at the Nürburgring at the GPD circuit in what was a wet race. H Racing Green coming down into La Caixa. Gap now 7.7 seconds. Peppo's had some sort of an issue as he's now 4.7 seconds behind his teammate Pepitox. As he comes through Catalunya onto the main straight. You see H Racing Green in the background. H Racing Green will see Peppo and be thinking, I've got this. As he turns into Elf Chicane. Gap now 6.8 seconds. As we exit Renault into Repsol, again purple sector 1. Pep Talk still holds the fastest lap, 1:41.1, and is 4 seconds ahead of his teammate Pippo. As we come through TV3 and make the run up to Campsa, we bit too much sausage curb there. That will cost Pippo some tenths of a second, which will be crucial in this battle against H Racing Green if H Racing Green can keep this pace up. We are on lap 28 of 35. And the gap is 6.6 seconds with less than just a little over 6 laps to go. 6 laps and 2 turns. So at the moment, as it stands. We've got Pep Talks, then Pipple, then H Racing Green, then CRG Jamie in 4th, then Hasnain in 5th, Ryan Nakagari in 6th, Solid Ninja Snake in 7th, Jotun Go in 8th, and Lee the Reaper in 9th position. The gap now 6.3 seconds. H Racing Green closing in on OP Pipox. CRG Jamie behind by about 3.6 seconds. CRG Jamie managed to close the gap with pit strategy, but it's kind of stalled out at 3.6 seconds. Doesn't seem like it's going to get too much closer than that to H Racing Green, as H Racing Green exits Renault corner and is just shy of a PB coming into Repsol. Gap now 5.9 seconds. As it looks like Pipple's had a bit of a scruffy run through TV3. And the gap is sitting about 5.7 seconds. You've got to wonder if that early pit stop means that tyre wear is also kicking in for Pipple and that is affecting his pace. However, H Racing Green now starting to open that gap up to Jamie just a wee bit. The gap now 4 seconds. And he's bringing that gap to Pipple down 5.6, 5.5. H Racing Green fastest lap on the last lap, 1:40.9. As it looks like Pipple was slightly on the grass there, but that was probably just him coming over to take the line on the curb. But the gap is 5.3. H Racing Green opening the gap behind to CRG Jamie 4.1, who is 11 seconds ahead of Hasnain, who has Rana Kagari about a couple of seconds back, who's 4 seconds ahead of Solid. Solid 3 seconds ahead of Jut and Go, who is pretty much the whole straight ahead of Lee the Reaper. Again, 5.1 seconds the gap from Pipple to H Racing Green. As he comes to TV3, 4.8 through Campsa. H Racing Green is now closer to Pipple than Pipple is to Pepitox. Pepitox about 4.8 seconds ahead and opening that gap to his teammate. It does seem like their pit stops were just a bit too early and tyre wear is now taking its toll on Pipple. You've got to imagine Pipple will be starting to overdrive it, seeing the gap behind crumble as it's doing now. 4.5 seconds, 4 laps to go. At the rate we're going, the second place in the championship will be decided on the final lap of this race. The gap for 4.5. We're getting to the point where H Racing Green can see Pipple at the exit of every corner. Even if it is just a fleeting glimpse. But he is indeed closing that gap. The gap now 4.4. H Racing Green chasing down Pipple. And still got CRG Jamie behind H Racing Green, then Hasnain, then Ryan Nakagari, then Solid Ninja Snake, Jut and Go, and Lee the Reaper. H Racing Green is 4.6 seconds. Gap's kind of plateaued a bit. See Pipbox coming through. Oh, Pipbox off. Oh, maybe not. Either that was a reset or that was a lag spike. But the gap now 4.3 seconds and closing 4.2. See Pipbox coming through Repsol corner and down into Seat. Gap now 3.9 seconds. Getting a wee bit squirrely on the exit of Seat corner there as we come into TV3. The gap to his teammate ahead 4.7 seconds. H Racing Green now just holding that gap about 3.9. 3 laps to go. As we break down and come into La Caixa on that sausage curb a wee bit. And through Bank Sabadell. A wee bit on the gravel. That's not going to help him much. As H Racing Green comes down the hill through Catalunya. H Racing Green is at the point he will start getting a wee bit of a long range tow. But the Porsche still seems to be a wee bit quicker on the straights when it's getting up to speed. But the gap's still coming down regardless. 3.5 seconds. Rannikagari in for a fastest lap attempt, surely. We'll come back out on the softs. H Racing Green with the fastest lap, 1:40.972. Gap 3.3 seconds to Pippo. You've got to imagine both these drivers will start giving it full beans, overdriving it a little bit. Here we go, Rannikagari on the softs for a fastest lap attempt. We've seen this last week from him. Or was it Daytona we've seen it from him? And it didn't quite pan out so well. He ended up, it was last week, and he had a penalty. Gap now 3.1 seconds from Pippo to H Racing Green. Pippo really running it as wide as he can go, using all the track to his advantage, but H Racing Green under 2 seconds. We are on the penultimate lap. As we come into the Elf chicane. And through Renault, the gap 2.8 seconds. Pep Talks in first, 4.6 seconds ahead of his teammate. Then we've got CRG Jamie in fourth, Hasnain in fifth, Solid Ninja Snake in sixth, Jungle in seventh, Rannikagari in eighth, and Lee the Reaper in ninth position. Rannikagari on softs, going for a fastest lap attempt. He will be coming through Catalunya now and making his way down the main straight. Gap now 2.6 seconds, 2.7 seconds from H Racing Green to OP Pippo. as H Racing Green makes his way through Lakaisa. 2.4 seconds, 2.3 seconds. Let's see where Ryan Nakagari is on his fastest lap attempt. Lee the Reaper also going for a fastest lap attempt. Might as well, nothing to lose for those guys. 2.1 seconds. OP Pippo on the final lap. Gap now under a second. .6 as we come through Renault. OP Pep Talks has opened the gap just a couple of tenths as H Racing Green gets a wee bit sideways out of Repsol. No, out of Renault. We're coming through Repsol now. Gap now 2.2 seconds. As we come through Seat corner. Ryan Nakagari goes for the fast lap and gets it. 1:40.6. H Racing Green making his way up to Campsa. Gap is 2.5 seconds with one sector to go. OP Pippo coming through Lakaisa. Gets on that sausage curb, will cost him a little bit of time. Through Sabadell, 2 more corners to go. Gap is 2.1 seconds. As we come through Catalonia, OP Pep Talks has won the race. OP Pep Talks comes home second, followed by H Racing Green. And we have CRG Jamie Hasnain coming through Catalonia now. Solid Engine Snake followed by Jut and Go. Gap is 0.5 seconds even. As they come through Catalonia, it's not too long a run to the line. Solid Engine Snake, then Jut and Go. Ryan Nakagari currently holds the fastest lap. Probably going for another attempt on this final lap. See if he can go a wee bit quicker. Now that there's even less fuel on board. Goes cross line. Does indeed set a new fastest lap of a 1:40.4. Lee the Reaper now coming through Lakaisa. Up through Sabadell. Trying to beat Ryan Nakagari's fastest lap of a 1:40.4 here. Gets a wee bit slidey on the exit of Sabadell as he comes through Europe car. And then through Catalonia. And to the line. Doesn't manage to beat it. 1/1200ths of a second off. Here we go. Here's your confirmation of the result. OP Pep Talks has won the race, followed by OP Pippo, and then followed by H Racing Green. That is your podium there then. In fourth we had CRG Jamie. Fifth is Has9282. Sixth Solid Ninja Snake. Seventh Jut and Go. Eighth Ragnar Kagari. And ninth Lee the Reaper. Javi and Ori did not finish the race. Well, that's been it for us here at PSGL tonight. Pippo secured second place with that second place. Yeah. Keep an eye out for any more GT if that is what you're into. We have the Porsche Cup coming up very soon. I believe tomorrow night here at PSGL it is Qatar for the F1 leagues. No, it's Hungary. Tomorrow night. No, Brazil E-Series. And then the night after that, it is Hungary. So be sure to check those out. I've been Pinky Boy, and yeah, thank you for joining us for the Constructors Challenge, and stay safe out there.